Ndakamuona mwana uyo achitamba ega kuri nevamwe, shamwari dzaimutiza, dzimwe dzacho dzaimuseka. Asi kusanzwisisa masikirwo ake nekushayiwa ruzivo.
Persons with disabilities make up 15% of our population and can contribute in a significant way to the GDP of the country if their right to decent work is promoted and protected.
Communication barriers, where we provide information muma formats asiri accessible, like we may have an employee ari deaf, an employee and a visual impairment. We just bring them at work and we give them information that is not accessible to them, or we talk to them in a way that is not accessible to them. So communication barriers also create a disability for persons with impairments. We also have what we call institutional barriers. These are systemic in nature, they are structural in our HR policies at work. Everything that we have, any piece of policy, piece of legislation, if it is not inclusive of various needs of different people in society, then it is not inclusive. It is discriminatory and it is exclusionary. So that is a barrier that is institutionalized in our workstation.
Persons with disabilities deserve that same chance to prove themselves, but too often only their disabilities seen at first glance.
This network is going to bring together different businesses, be it multinational, national, the employer federations, civil society organizations, and other stakeholders to promote employment and inclusion of persons with disabilities at the workplace. This initiative, ladies and gentlemen, is aligned with the global commitments to disability inclusion, including the UNCRPD, which Zimbabwe ratified, as well as to contribute to the attainment of Sustainable Development Goals, SDG number 8. Through this National Disability Network, business can exchange ideas, learn from each other, and implement disability-friendly policies that can benefit not only persons with disabilities, but the entire workforce. Ladies and gentlemen, launching this new network in Zimbabwe marks a significant step towards disability inclusion in the country's business sector. The initiative of the network supports Zimbabwe's National Development Strategy 1, which ran from 2021 up to 2025, and also it contributes to the Decent Work Program for Zimbabwe, and it is well aligned with the National Disability Policy, even the National Financial Inclusion Strategy. As said savers, we believe that launching of the network in Zimbabwe aims to create a more accessible and inclusive environment in the business community. The network will promote diversity, equality, and opportunities for persons with disability in the business sector.
Companies must give persons with disabilities a chance to prove themselves as productive workers.
My name is Leonard Marange. Today we are here to support a project that is being spearheaded by our partner and sister organization, NASCO, to sensitize employers on the need to also find value in employing persons with disabilities. So this has been a very important exercise, a very important training workshop for employers coming from the private sector as they do. We also wanted to sensitize them on the policies and laws that reference disability inclusive development, like our own constitution, the National Disability Policy, and so on. So the uptake has been very impressive by these employers. They are very happy to be part of this initiative. And we also wanted to create awareness to the employers on the International Labour Organization assessment tool that is aimed at assisting companies to assess the extent to which they are being the extent to which they are inclusive of persons with disabilities in terms of their employment and in terms of the products and services that they sell or dispense to the public. So we are quite encouraged by what is happening. It from the feedback that we are getting in the plenary, it is quite clear that the employers represented here have benefited a lot, and they are very keen to partner us going forward to try and provide them the support for them to become more disability sensitive and inclusive at their workplaces.
Some of the persons with physical disabilities face some challenges in finding a job. It seems that employers only saw his or her wheelchair or crutches and not his or her talent.
I've attended this training on sensitization of disabilities for the private companies. I'm representing Table Zimbabwe, and at Table Zimbabwe I'm the HR business partner in the Human Resource Department. This training I attended in terms of understanding the importance of persons with disabilities. In view of that, we have learned that it's very, very important when you employ people with disabilities to consider them or maintain them, or rather appreciate them the way they are. Issues of discrimination should also then be discouraged. We've also learned issues to say we've got so many people in Zimbabwe that are talented with their disabilities, and it's very, very important to also access the database that is there within these organizations that are representing the people with disabilities, to also understand them in terms of what they offer, in terms of how they can assist organizations in terms of coming up with initiatives to ensure that at the workplace we've got standards that are also cooperative and accommodative for the people with disabilities. And we've also learned issues of quite often issues of barriers that are existing in many institutions, to say issues of physical barriers that are also impending in organizations, to say the issue to do with, for example, issues of those toilets that are supposed to be used by people with disabilities. It's very important for organizations to provide such facilities, to provide such resources to ensure that people with disabilities are accommodated in the organizations. We've also learned about issues of attitude or perceptions rather with people that are with disabilities. It's very, very important to ensure that we try by all means to eliminate those barriers of attitude or perceptions towards people with disabilities. Number one, issues of, for example, we've learned that people with disabilities, when they are born, it's an issue of, say, someone are disabled, or it's a way of punishment from God, but that is not correct.
Achitamba